Welcome to the second recording explaining the different types of payment configurations on Popote Pay phone application. In the first demo, we covered how to set up your account with a finish of the various options of funding your Popote wallet. In this recording, we'll be focusing on creating payees and actual creation of payments with the approval follow-up. So when on the Popote Pay mobile app home screen, you can pre-upload payees by tapping the Management tab, which is the fourth icon from the left on the bottom of your home screen as seen here. So you can tap the Payees tab and this will give you three options, which are Add Payee, Edit Payees, and Call or SMS Payees. The Edit Payees tab is for editing already existing payees, payment details like bank account or till number, and the Call or SMS Payees tab is for communicating with your already existing payees easily from the platform. So to add frequent payees like suppliers and permanent employees or some casual employees where applicable, tap the Add Payee tab and fill the payee details. This being the payee's name as an individual or business, their email detail which is optional for communication purposes, and their digital remittance channels as offered by the platform. This being mobile numbers, pay bill, buy goods, and local or international bank account. This is key for ease of disbursing and equally to eliminate risk of errors during the event of paying. So once this is completed, this is saved as a payee you can remit funds to using your Popote Pay mobile application. So creation of payment entails filling a digital form and adding any extra information needed due to the nature of the payment type. And the phone application is built to consider that one may be on the go. Hence, to start, one can make express payments to one-off or pre-uploaded payees, and one can create and approve the payment based on the approval limit, as this feature is only available to users with approval limits or rights. We can now move on to the routinely payment process as seen on the third bottom icon, starting off with single payments. So generally for all payments, this would be selecting the payee, the required payment channel one is paying through, and you can always add or delete them under management in the edit payee section as previously mentioned. Next, you'd enter the relevant category, attach cost centers, that is branch or department, jobs or projects where applicable, taking photos via the application for uploading supporting documentation like invoices or photos of project progress, appending notes for further description of the payment and for the approver to take note of, the payable amount, setting the appropriate triggers for follow-up at a later date, and lastly, the payment urgency. So once the payment has been submitted or created, the system would then send out SMS alerts to approvers to follow up on the same. So generally, an approver would tap on the Pay Process tab and select the payment type that needs approval as alerted on SMS or email. They can then view the payment so as to get an understanding of it, communicate to the creator in the event of needed adjustments, and also to the supplier where there may be bottlenecks due to delayed payments or equally gratitude for great service. They can also edit the payment, freeze it in the event of other approvers with similar rights and one may have concerns. They can also reject it or pay by inputting their secret approval PIN. So this is the general approval process for all payments, and we can now move on to split payments. So this configuration allows one to break an invoice or pay in installments. So we can start with the payment creation. So to break an invoice or paying in installments means creation of various splits on the platform. So as you fill the digital form, the unique part would be addition of splits and their due date where the case applies. A quick example would be a construction company like Great Height Constructions Limited being paid to their bank account as the required remittance channel, paying for surveying, consultancy, and each split set for the different service date provided. After the form is filled, this can now be submitted for approval. And as earlier mentioned, the system will communicate to the approvers via SMS or email, depending on the settings that have been put in place. So the same process of approval applies as earlier mentioned, and split payments can be used in many scenarios, especially in the area where there are constraints like mobile money limitations, if requested to pay through this channel, insufficient funds in the wallet, hence the first split caters for what's available and the balance in the next split, but basically where installments need to be made. The payment can also have several approval levels on this tab as adjusted in settings. So next we have single and bulk airtime. For single airtime, this would allow a business to load airtime directly onto mobile phone numbers on any network one at a time. So as is the norm, one would create the payment as guided. And as for bulk airtime, this would allow a business to load airtime directly onto multiple mobile phone numbers on any network. So as guided, one would create the payment and you have the option to remember that particular bulk if it will be a recurring disbursement. So next we have bulk payments. Bulk payments would help a business pay through the Impress system. So ideally, we can begin by giving the bulk a title, or you can select an already saved bulk. You can then select the expense type, be it personal or business. At the payees, you can either enter their names and numbers manually or select from an already existing list. Finally, you can remember that bulk for future use where necessary. So on the approval section, with the help of the system creating all the payments for you, making the process less tedious, an approver can select the submitted bulk payment by title and tap it to review. It gives the option of cancel, reject, or approve, and the latter requesting approval notes and the approver's PIN for disburse. So next we'd move to bulk payroll. This configuration would allow a business to do their payroll to mobile numbers or bank accounts with automated statutory deductions. So on the creation page, you would begin by assigning the payroll a title that you can use in the future or select one saved prior. You can then select the expense type, be it personal or business. At the payees, you can either enter their names and numbers manually or select from an already existing list, enter the category, branch or department, job or project where necessary, include withdrawal amount. You can also remember that bulk for future use, and finally, input statutory deductions as applicable, as the system automatically calculates for you, and finally submit your payroll for approval, and this would create 4 payments or a batch for approval, this being your net pay, NSSF, NHIF, and payee. Next, a plus tab appears, allowing you to add as many preset or new payees as necessary, and the amount, and recoup on any loans or advances. Upon completion, tap Next, and a breakdown of the bulk will be displayed for your review and editing before tapping Submit that will successfully create the bulk. So the approval process is generally the same as mentioned earlier, and in this case, this being first for the net pay. And for statutories, the process starts from one doing their returns to the relevant statutory organization, where they would receive then a unique number. For example, in the case of NHIF, the e-slip would have a unique byproduct number which the approver would add to the payment. They are able to do this by editing the payment. Here, they will find a section for account number where one would indicate the number they have retrieved after submitting returns, edit the payment, and move on to approving it or passing it over to the next approver based on the settings one has in place. So the process is the same for the other statutories and tax as well. So next we have the utility payment. So one would select the expense type again as personal or business. At the select tab, by default, we have already uploaded the utilities that are common amongst businesses, like for example, electricity, water, internet services, and for the unique ones to a business or organization, one can create that utility as a payee under management as it's a pay bill followed by the account number. You can then enter the category, branch, department, job, project where necessary, invoice, receipt number, notes, amount, VAT claim, tracking reminders, and payment urgency. The process is pretty much the same across. And that's a general demo on the different payment configurations on Popote Pay. My name is Daniel Orenga, Digital Training Manager. Thank you so much for your time.